Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Thursday. It's August 22nd. This will be our chart lesson for the day, and this is Thursday. No chart lessons on Friday, so this will wrap up our week. Pretty good downtrend today. I talked the other day about us pulling back and testing the midline, but I hadn't noticed that my chart was a little out of whack, and I adjusted it. So we didn't really pull back and touch the midline till today. And you can see we actually closed above that. So maybe this is going to be the pullback, and maybe we definitely relieve some of the overbought situation. So we could go higher now. Maybe we'll correct a little bit more before we go higher. We do have a close and a new high outside on this channel, so it could be all we get, but I'm guessing we're going to get a retest of this high. Um, Again, I've talked about it several times. I do not think that we'll see any kind of major sell-off in this market until after the election. I don't think they're going to allow it to sell off. Um, that just usually doesn't happen during election years. The party in power doesn't want to will not allow a sell-off to happen going right into an election. So unless something crazy happens, I don't see that happening. I actually see us going higher here. Maybe we'll be slow from here on out, but I mean this was a really strong and fast correction or rally, and this is not much of a correction really in comparison to this. So and we did close above that midline, so that could be the test of the push through pullback test of the midline, and we could go higher here. And again, we have relieved some of the overbought pressure. We're still wouldn't take much to become really overbought again, but this thing's turning back up. I think we're probably going to go higher. We may get another day or two of correction, but we'll see what happens. Pretty good downtrend today. Really nice trend actually. There were there's multiple trades today, but we'll see that in just a minute. We'll flip over, but it was just a downtrend day for the most part. So. But let's flip over to the 2,000 tick chart and we'll take a look at it and we'll go through the trades and we'll wrap this week up. And here we are. Here's a look at our 2,000 tick chart. We had a large two-tiered channel working lower. This larger channel didn't really help you because we didn't come back to it that much. It might have helped you with this one or two trades up here, but for the most part, that's the only touches we got other than the first two touches up here. This confirmed it. It never really came back again after that. And really from 9 o'clock until almost noon, it didn't come back to it either. So you really had to hone in on these tighter channels to trade this. But there it is. Mostly all downhill. We had some sideways stuff. And we had one pretty nice rally right here. But yeah, it was mostly down for the day. So let's zoom in here and take a look. There were a couple of red news items, 7:30 and 8:45, and you see I marked those. And 7 o'clock came in here. There was a second entry long here, but it's an inside bar. It's just a secondary touch of the I mean, you might say that's a confirmation. I'm not crazy about that, but it's one. Somebody else, we talk about this. Inside bars are not very reliable. I don't like using them for your signal bar because this is technically your signal bar. It made the swing low. And you like to use the swing bar. So if you do enter here, you still have to put your stop below the swing low, which is down here. I'm not going to say that there's never a chance you use this inside bar. Generally, I just don't mark them because it's hard to know when to use them and when not to. And if I start marking them, people will start trying to use them. And you really need to be a very good chart reader to use inside bars. But I mean, that's a very solid bar right at the key entry point. And you could say that confirms the trend. And it is a second entry. It's clearly two legs back to the EMA and trend line. And it's a decent signal bar too. So maybe you take that trade. We run on up. We're just working sideways here. And we actually get a close outside and a push to a new high. I don't see any entries in there anywhere I would take. It does push to a new high and it just reverses. It looks like we're going to take on off here Again, I don't see much I like here. You might argue there's a failure here, but this just looks a little too congested. And, I think you'd have to wait for this to close, and there's a pretty good stem, and it's really right on the border of when maybe things have slowed down. So I don't think you want to take that trade. But there's clearly two legs down here and a chance to go long. And you can see that channel, the break, move to a new low. And there's clearly two swings down there, even though by the count it's like a third entry or something. Maybe you take that trade because that definitely looks like a reversal. Still plenty of room back to the EMA, but you get a higher low, and that's the better place to enter because now you got a little more information that says, hey, we're probably going higher here. I like that one better, but these are the ones where you'll catch some important lows sometimes. This turned out to be the best entry, and you probably would have got a runner on that. And that might have been the only trade you need. When you can catch a runner that easily runs 6 points or more, that one runs 6 points before it backs up or breaks below any bar prior. So you could easily get 5 or 6 points out of that. Turns down, and there is a second entry short there. I'm not crazy about that signal bar. See if you get a lower high, and you don't. And so you really don't get a chance to ride that one down. It's a big move down, and you just don't get an opportunity. And then we're just chopping sideways. You get a little breakout here, and this bar makes a little double top there, 2 bar matching highs, what I call that. And it closes back inside. That's very, very bearish bar. I like going short there since it closed back in that range and up under the EMA. And we haven't made a new low on this yet, so there's a good chance. So that turns out to be a really nice little move there. Comes back, the range seems to be holding again, and you get a triple test there, 1, 2, 3. You get a lower high, that'd be considered a lower high there. And it's also a first entry, second entry short. So I like going short there. And then we break out down here. This one barely closes back inside, so I'm not as crazy about it going long there. I think you'd be better to wait on the higher low here. But maybe if you want to be aggressive, because I talk about sometimes, that could be a major low for the day, and it might rally like crazy out of there. So a lot of times they're worth taking. We're in a downtrend today, though, so the better trade would be a failure out the top that could lead to one that goes on like this one does here. We'll talk about it in a minute. But, yeah, you may take that trade. I think it's still a little aggressive. The better trade is here, and it does have that little one tick lower, and it fails and turns up, and it closes back inside. This higher low is the better one. Again, it traps people. It turns lower and then turns up. You could trade that one on the engulfing bar, but you might want to wait till it closes, make sure it closes inside. I like going long on it. And then still, you get back inside the range here, and this is actually a tad higher right there. And it broke lower and turns up. Again, you could trade that one on the engulfing bar as well, or wait till it closes. And boom, off it goes. And then here we get these little 2 bar matching higher, and this one breaks higher and fails and turns back inside the range. And again, you could trade that one on the engulfing bar because it's a mostly solid bar there, and or you could wait till it closes. Starting to get you're starting to run out of room, but there's still enough room to scalp out there. And this is the one of these two might be the one that really takes off because we're in a downtrend. So remember, the failures that tend to be important highs or lows usually work with the trend. And so when we're in downtrend, look at this thing go. If you catch that trade, you might ride this all the way to the lows. It's you're easily going to get a runner on this, especially if you trade it on the engulfing bar. Even if you traded it on this one, I think you probably still get a runner there. And then there's this a hidden second entry here, but the signal bar is not very good. And so you just can't catch that one. Then we're just chopping sideways. And I don't see anything I'd like going long or short there, unfortunately. And it just kind of drops on down. And you get another little channel here. Since you came out of that, since you already got your break and 2 legs down and it continues on, you probably look for another trend, and you do get another little trend channel with a break, new low, and the next thing you know, we're rallying off the lows down here. You got to be careful getting long in a downtrend, and by the time you really know that you got a good trend back up, you're halfway there, and you just don't get anything after that. There's no chance to really go long here. So you just have to kind of take what it gives you. There is, notice here that you're working down. There is a first entry, and then it turns lower and turns back up. So that is a second entry long when it goes past this bar. The problem is you can't use that engulfing bar. And so you got to wait till this closes, and by that time you're better off just to you're going long right into the highs, and it's just not a great place to go long. But it runs up here back to the trend line. It confirms it there, gets another confirmation, and we get a little push outside there in a triple test. And so I like going short there. There's a lower high here. It breaks higher and turns down again. You can't trade that. Somewhat of a there's not much of a body there, so you got to wait for this to close. I still think that closes bearish enough, and so there's another chance to enter. And if you enter on this lower high here, this is probably another runner, easy runner you catch, and if you can just get till you get a bar that breaks higher, there's you 20 points, and so that's a really nice move down again. Then you get your close outside, a few swings down, then you got one going up. Close outside, and it tries to go higher twice and fails. Really, this looks like a double bottom to me right here. So it still looks like 2 legs back to the EMA. I like that. Technically, it's probably really a first entry, second entry, third entry. But it's definitely a failure, although it's not necessarily where you're looking for a failure. But the fact that you have this double bottom, and this has moved a good bit here, I still like treating that like a second entry short. And you can see it took a minute, but the bottom just falls out again. Then you get another second entry right here that confirms that you really already confirmed the trend line with that many touches there, but I like to see a little space in them, so you could consider, hey, well, we confirmed it here, but you don't have a break and new high of this trend working up here, but you don't always get one on micro channels, so it's a decision you have to make based on the context of the chart. And this has been a very strong downtrend. The other side of the channel is still way down here. This is still, the other side of the channel is still way down here. This is still underneath the midline. You can clearly see prices are following that trend line. Personally, I'd probably take that trade, because second entries with the trend, 2-legged pullbacks to the EMA and the trend line. Not only do you have the trend line, you got the midline in there too. So you got the midline, the trend line, and the EMA all acting as resistance there, and pretty quick move down. Then you get a lower high right here as well with another night, and this broke higher and turned down, and that's a solid bar. And even though that's sideways, I don't see any small bar, no bodied bar in there, or tiny body until here, and you would have already entered by then. So I like entering that on the engulfing bar, or you can enter right there. And then boom, off it goes again. You probably get another runner here. Now, if you're just moving till, if you're just riding it till the first bar that breaks higher, well, there's only 3 points there. But if you wait till you get the, at least a solid, a trend bar in the right direction with a break above it, then you get to ride it all the way to here, and you get almost 12 points. And that would have been most of the move. And I don't see anything to get long here. There is a reversal type pattern here. And it is where you might look for a reversal. I didn't mark it. I mean, we're in a downtrend, and you're not really looking for reversals. We didn't get back down here yet, so we could turn back down again. It looks like we got to close outside a new low, but you might, sometimes when they're not real convincing, you'll get another push lower, and you can't be certain that the move down is over, but it's a possibility. Maybe you mark it green. I don't think I would take that trade. But we move up, we get a close outside. We try to go higher to multiple times, and we're making a little lower high each time. So I like taking that trade just as long as you got room before the lows, which you do. And you see why you need that room, because it bounces right at the lows. And then you get the failed breakout. And because this one is a 2-bar matching high, I like just taking that one right there, right on the spot. Very bearish. Just take that trade. And maybe you catch that important high again. You do get a really good move down here, but you don't catch that important high. My target here would probably just be these lows, because we've bounced there so many times, and it ends up going another leg down. So that's being conservative, but a lot of times that's the smart trade. It keeps you from getting stopped out. But anyway, then it bounces and you get a break. It tries to make a new high once, twice. Again, this is another failure, but I don't like where this one occurs. I don't like this setup. Drops down. Then you get 2 legs back to the EMA, and you can clearly see you got a trend there, so you'd expect prices to go lower. Now, we are after 230 here, but if you look, this bar was finished by 231. So I think if you really want to take that trade, I marked it green only because it's after 230. But we've heard me say this before, hopefully. If you get a really good setup on just right into 230, don't be afraid to take it. Just, much after 235, 5 minutes or so into, then don't keep taking trades, because you'll get yourself in trouble if you do. But if it's in the first minute, or maybe even right into the second minute, and you got a really good setup, take it. And this is a really good setup. You can clearly see the trend, the break, the new high. It's a second entry. It's a very bearish bar. It's just 1 minute after, it's like 1 minute after 230. Minute and a half. I like that trade, so I marked it. But there it is, very bearish day. You had to trade some range stuff, then you had to trade some trend stuff as well, and so you got a little bit of everything today. And pretty good day, lots of trades today. You shouldn't have had any problem finding a couple of trades today to make money on, and there were several good runners today. So if you're trading runners, you should have had an opportunity to get some runners again today as well. So anyway, nice trading day. Nice way to wrap up the week here. Maybe we'll get some more good trading tomorrow, and we'll see where we go from there. But it looks like we could. I mean, if you look at the week or the daily chart that I showed you, always start with. I mean, we could go either way tomorrow. That midline could hold on the daily chart, and we could go higher, or we could still correct a little bit. Maybe we just have a range type day tomorrow to relieve some more of the overbought, and we don't go up. We don't really get much change. I mean, it could go either way. So it's just a little, on the daily chart, it moves real slow. It takes a whole day to make a bar, so it moves real slow, and a lot of times you won't know what's happening. You'll be able to read the chart and get a good idea, but you won't get any confirmation sometime for a day or two. And so to me, it looks like we may bounce higher tomorrow, but there's no way to know that for sure until the day kind of plays out tomorrow, or starts, at least till the mid-morning chart goes out. You'll start to have an idea then, probably what we might be looking at. So, but I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again Monday. I'm done for today. Hope you have a great weekend. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.